What's up everyone? Welcome back to the channel. This week we're going to make some ricotta with lemon chaffles. So we've got 2 eggs, some ricotta cheese, that's 2/3 of a cup of mozzarella cheese, that's 2 tablespoons of this Swerve icing sugar, and then obviously we have some lemons because these are lemon ricotta chaffles, and we're going to wind up adding some almond flour because this is a fairly got a lot of moisture in this batter. So what we're going to do is we're going to add our mozzarella to the 2 eggs first. Now this recipe was inspired by a video I just saw from some friends over at Flour, Eggs and Yeast. I've been following them for a long time. Great couple over there. I'll leave a link to their video down below where they made lemon ricotta cookies with a lemon icing sugar glaze. So that inspired me to try and chaffleify that recipe if it were. So we've got our mozzarella cheese mixed in with the eggs, and now we're going to add that's half a cup of the ricotta cheese into the mix, and we'll get that incorporated. It doesn't take too long. It's fairly creamy cheese. Doesn't take too much to break it up. So we'll just give that a good stir, and then we're going to add again our 2 tablespoons of this icing sugar into the mix, and we'll get that incorporated into the batter as well. Now I like using the icing sugar for these kinds of recipes. I do find it mixes in a little bit better than the granulated sugar. What I have found is that any kind of sugar in chaffles will wind up caramelizing when you cook it, so you just have to be aware of that. So we've got 1 lemon here, and I know this isn't the correct tool for zesting a lemon. It's just not something I've actually invested in before. So we're just using the fine grate on my box grater here just to get the zest off of this 1 lemon. Now obviously you don't want to go too deep on it. You don't want to get any of the white pith, or it's going to get it'll get bitter. So we'll just get most of the zest off this 1 lemon here. I'm not too worried about getting it all. That's looking pretty good. So we'll get all of the zest out of the grater here. Definitely going to invest in a proper zester, or whatever you call it, kind of thing. So we're going to take this lemon zest here, and we're going to add it into our chaffle batter here. Just use a spatula to scrape most of it in there. Now this batter is already starting to smell really good with the lemon zest, but what we're going to do next, once we give that a good mix in, is we're going to add the juice of half of this lemon into our mix, just to give it even more of a lemon flavor. So we'll get a little bowl here, and then we're going to roll the lemon a little bit just to loosen up the juices inside. Cut it in half roughly, kind of thing, and then I'm just adding the juice into this this little bowl first, because as you will see, some seeds come out with it. So instead of having to fish the seeds out of the batter, now we can just pour the juice in from the bowl, and just avoid getting the seeds into the chaffle mix. So we'll pour all that in, just like that. Give that another mix around, just to incorporate the lemon juice. And it's coming together really well, and you can really smell the lemon now. So one thing I decided to add after the fact here is a ½ teaspoon of this baking powder, just to help it rise a little bit. Ultimately you probably don't need it, but It's not going to hurt anything. And then we're going to start adding our almond flour. Now again, this is one of those things that I don't typically measure per se. I guess we'll wind up putting maybe 4 tablespoons, 5 tablespoons by the end of this video. You'll see where we add more in a little while, but it's one of those things where you have to add as much as you think you're going to need. You just got to watch the consistency of your chaffle batter. Watch as it thickens up. Of course, you don't want it too thick, but if there's too much moisture in it, you'll have a hard time with the chaffles. And you will see that coming up with the first two. Ultimately, I don't think we had enough, or I had too much moisture in the chaffles, but that was 2 heaping tablespoons, and then I think I added another sort of half tablespoon here. We'll finish getting that mixed in to the chaffle batter. And it was looking really good here. At this point, I thought it was going to be thick enough that it would, the chaffles would cook properly. So I decided to give it a try just like that. I warmed up the Dash Multi-Maker mini waffle irons here until the light goes off. We know it's heated up, and we're going to add our batter into each waffle iron. So, you know, around 2 tablespoons or 2 of these big spoonfuls of batter is all you really need. Any more than that, and it'll just wind up spilling out the side and making a mess. Now, I will say with a recipe like this, you do want to let them cook a little bit longer, just to get some of the steam, the moisture steams out of them a little bit more. So just keep that in mind. Okay, so as you can see, the first 2, one of them didn't turn out too well, and they were quite dark. And you may have noticed I completely forgot to turn my light on for this section of the video. So there's always got to be something in any video. Anyways, I left this in because I wanted to illustrate one of the benefits of using the Dash Multi-Maker mini waffle irons. You know, I can see it is struggling a little bit here, but what I've done is I've released this bottom plate from the waffle iron. And what that allows me to do is to pull it right out. And you'll see in a second here, I'm going to take it and I'm going to flip it over onto my wire rack. With a soft chaffle like this, it will firm up after a little bit, but getting them out can be a bit of a struggle. So being able to remove that plate allows you to get it out without having to break the chaffle up. So see, that one turned out pretty good. The other one I got out as well. Like I say, it didn't look very good, but it still tasted just fine. So now what I've done is I've added a couple more tablespoons of almond flour to the mix here, just to thicken it up just a little bit more. And we'll get these 2 chaffles loaded up here. These ones, as you'll see in a second here, turned out much better. I didn't have to release the plates to get them out. But again, I wanted to let them cook a little bit longer so the steam is completely stopped on them. And as you can see, they did turn out quite well. But again, they are still quite soft. So you just want to take your time and again, put them aside on a wire rack so that they'll cool and firm up a little bit. So that's those 2, and I was able to get another full chaffle plus, you know, most of a chaffle. So that's 5 and 6, so 6 chaffles this week. You know, bonus chaffles are always a good thing. So get those out, get them resting, and then the indulgent part of this recipe starts here. So we've got 2 more tablespoons of powdered sugar, or the Swerve. And then that's the other half of the lemon that I juiced into that bowl. Now, I didn't know sort of the ratios that I needed here, so it turned out that I didn't really have enough, or I had too much lemon juice for how much icing sugar I had. So I mixed that up, and then I basically just added more of this Swerve until it thickened up into a nice glaze. So like I say, I was just adding, a teaspoon at a time, heaping teaspoon by the look of it, and then just mixing it up. After a couple more teaspoons, it turned into a really nice glaze. So I guess you can probably figure out what we're going to do with this next. So these look really good. The smell of lemon is just crazy off of these. Super excited about how these turned out. Really tasty. Even my better half even liked them. So, that's saying a lot for chaffles. So hope you enjoyed the video. Again, check out my friends at Flours, Eggs, and Yeast for their original video. And let me know what you thought down in the comments below. Give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing, and we'll see you back here for another chaffle recipe next week. Keep on thriving, my friends.